Hi, and welcome to Childcare Challenges and Dilemma in Daycare. And today we have a special guest. That had I don't want in me
How you guys doing? My name is Deon Romaselli. I'm a program assistant for an after-school program in Lower East Harlem.
okay. Oh, in Harlem, in the city, in.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So mostly the people that I interview is from the Bronx. Like a lot of them from the Bronx, but now I have in the after school program. I know there's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of dilemmas. Right? Now, what are some of the challenges that you face doing this job?
I face a lot of challenges. First, one of the few things that come to mind is I face students not being up to maybe reading level or math level that they need to be. And when they're in after school, they're in a space where they're supposed to spend a little bit of time doing homework, and the rest of it is kind of like activities and whatnot. But there's such a need for them to improve their academics that there's a conflict there that sometimes we have to spend way more time than necessary. And if we don't, then I hear from parents that my son or my daughter didn't do all their homework, things like that.
You said that there's children that's not up to the standard of the level that they should be in. When you find those children that not up to that level, how do you handle that?
Now I'm a program assistant, but I come from being actually in the class with the students. When I was in the class with the students, I would actually devote a little extra time or a little like more. I would isolate them maybe in groups of two or three and kind of help them catch up. That's what I would do.
That's what you would do. But in your program, that's the same thing that goes for them too as well.
I mean, it's not because it's not required that the students in the program complete their homework, and it's not required for the staff to educate them. They're not educators. A lot of them are just after school proctors. They're there for activities and stuff. So I imagine some of them do take the same time and do that, and most don't. So that's where it becomes a dilemma.
Okay. So is there any funding aside for those students that's not up to par? Is there any special help that that the state put for the children like those?
Not particularly for my program, but what we've implemented is we set aside time for certain students who parents wish to give them extra help. And instead of going to different parts of the program where they're doing activities, they'd spend the whole after school doing their homework and getting tutoring help.
That's like going from school to school then.
Pretty much. And if that's what the parent wants them to do, then, we're here to do that. But for the most part, that's not our responsibility.
Okay, okay. So what do you find the dilemma within that? Within that, you guys have to become now educators, and I know when it comes down to staffing, because if that in Harlem in the inner city, like more students, so how would it go for the staff ratio? You say break them up in threes or twos before, and when after that's in this classroom, all right. But now
Mhm.
the after school program, how do you guys break them up in staff, and how's the staff to ratio there? Is there enough funding for the higher staff, or do you guys wish there's more funding to implement?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lack of funding that forces you to kind of get a little bit creative with the race staff ratio. So we'll do something like add a few volunteers. We have volunteers that come, and we use that to offset the ratio so that if certain children need extra help, we're still able to provide it. But technically, based off the staff and the funding that we're allowed to provide, it's not enough.
So it's not enough. So then, it's still students are still suffering.
Of course,
Okay.
you can't. Everybody, kids slip through the cracks. You got to do the best you can, but you can't save every kid. It's not possible with the funding that we have.
Right. So you'd like to see more funding allocated to.
Of course, 100%.
And what about if you have children with special needs? How do you handle those?
Well, that's also another challenge. For the most part, these students come with parents that are aware of their needs and can help facilitate and kind of help because a lot of these children need this individual help. But some come to the program and the caretakers are unaware, the after school, we're unaware that the child has, a program or individual, an IEP. So it might kind of culminate in a behavioral issue until we find out, from the parent that that's what's going on, and it'll help us to redirect. But by then, it's become a weird kind of conflict that's unnecessary. So it can be very challenging.
Okay, so when they have that behavioral issue, how do your staff handle it? When you have children that's hitting, that's spitting, that kicking, do you have
Well,
staff just for those kids?
yes, for the most part. There's exceptions. Sometimes there's issues that are beyond, regular staff. But for the most part, we're able to like kind of isolate the child, give them a little time to reflect. Kind of a space to kind of express themselves, but not harming the staff or other students and stuff like that. Will kind of excuse them, but that's few and far between. Sometimes I have to intervene myself, and also I'm kind of leaning back to sometimes you don't know that that's the actual issue.
Okay. These are not only challenging for the children, but it sounds like it's a challenging for the staff. And
Definitely.
sound like you guys get burnt out by doing all these. When it's a three-man job, you're doing a one man doing a three-man job because
Very true.
when you guys get burnt out, how do you guys handle those things? Do you guys have a special program to help with staff that are burnt out? Because underpaid, you guys are underpaid and overworked, right? And
Yes, that can be the situation. Um, I've been, informed a few times that there's, programs and different types of areas where people can reach out to you and kind of help you with the stress of this kind of day to day lifestyle being a caretaker. But I feel like there could be more resources towards that type of help.
for that type of help, if you have a chance to voice or to advocate, where would you advocate for those funding to go to? Come up
Just more staff appreciation type of ordeals, things that are kind of refresh and replenish the staff's mind, things a little bit more education on how to handle these type of situations, these type of implementations of that's what I would imagine would help.
more, okay, more funding to allocate it. Okay. As far as the parents, they saying the parents is helpful. What the challenges you find with the parents when the children homework aren't getting done? And I know most of these parents have to work 2 to 3 jobs. Some of them are single parent households. So how do you handle these type of parents?
Well, the most important thing is that the parent and I are on the same page and we're aligned goal wise.
Mhm.
If we're both trying to find a way to either improve the child's scores, grades, or reading level or whatnot, then we usually find a middle ground. Whether it's like I suggested earlier with the program, whereas the kid spend a little extra time doing his work, or individual, just like I said earlier, where I could assign certain staff to kind of okay, if it's a reading thing, then he or she will read with the student more. That type of help.
Okay. Do you guys have like a progress report and system to see if those are effectively? How is it working with the student? How do you guys know that the way you're doing it is working?
Well, we're connected with the daytime school, so a lot of the times the efforts of the after school program reflect on the reading scores and the testing scores in the daytime. And I can also say firsthand, being in the class with the students, I can see, you're able to see their test scores and their grades from the day before and the weeks before when they let you know, oh, we worked on this project or we worked on this assignment and I got everything right. When before you see the progress, I went from I don't want to do this at all. I don't understand to look, I did it all right.
Good job.
So that's how I can kind of mark it.
Okay, okay. That's it. So if someone want to go into this field, what would you have to say to them? Like, say I want to be an educator.
Well, first I would say it has to be something that's in you or something you truly want to do, because if it's something you just want to do for employment, you're going to burn out very fast, because it's this is something that comes from within you. If you don't have the desire to help, to learn, to raise, to teach, those type of things, this is not the position for you. But if you are, You just have to know that it's draining, and you might have to take a break sometimes. And there's always more education for you to help you. But especially in New York City, which I can speak to, more than likely, like you said, you're going to be underpaid and overworked. So, guess prepare for that.
Okay. So what drove you to leave from in the classroom to being a program manager?
I would say the desire to like have more of an impact on the program. I wanted to have more of a positive impact, and you can suggest and you can be an example in your class, but you'd have more of an impact from an administration position.
Okay, you have more impact. So in your program and children that comes out, that when they have looking for a father, a big brother, a big sister, are you guys that big brother, big sister? When they come like they have a rough day at home or
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the after school teachers and staff members are all like extended family members to these children, especially the younger ones going up to grade 5, and even some of the older ones, because they don't always have somebody they can talk to, or maybe or dad is tired, or whoever's at home doesn't have the time, or is just busy in general. So it's almost automatic that you're some sort of role model when it comes to the kids.
so you're saying you like being a program manager better because you implement. Is there any guide that you will have that you would share with educators that you personally have found that work in your favor? That educators that will come and said, okay, he sound like he leaves from the school system, which is it's too draining mentally. They can't handle it, and go into a program that you are in, but to become a program manager, how do you handle it? What are the structure? What structure do you put in place for yourself as a program manager?
Consistency and like a system, something that repeats. Like your system has to be something that is repetitive, and it has to be consistent. So whatever you decide to implement, of course there's room for change, but for the most part, when you show consistency in what you're doing, you'll most likely get closer to the results that you're looking for. Like for example, we were talking about finishing homework, raising test scores, and raising reading levels. If you're going to implement a program to help, don't fall short because the first couple weeks the numbers don't look like what you expected or what you anticipated. Stay firm, stay consistent with it, and stay behind your plan. That's a principle that I kind of work by.
Okay. So how do you manage staff that comes in, and first thing you said before that you guys are not educators, right? So
Yeah.
how do you train staff for these type of jobs that are not educators, that's not prepared for them? I know you said lack of funding, but you said you have a system in place, and you said that you see changes. So for a program that okay, we working on a low budget. We want to put an improvement in our kids. We want to have high test scores. We want to have better reading level. How did you do that as being the one that changes, that shaped these programs?
Before I became a program manager, the program already had a culture in place, whereas there's already curriculum and a training and a whole kind of process that you have to go through in order to become a staff at the program. So I just kind of facilitated more of that. I pushed that forward, and the trainings themselves kind of align everybody in kind of a culture at the school.
They saying that if a staff comes in like have no knowledge of
Hmm.
it, just comes in for after school, like okay, like a 17-year-old or 16-year-old or 18
Yeah.
fresh out of high school or in high school comes in, you have things that in place, training in place for them,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And
And
even though they have that training, like you said, they're 16 and 17, so experience is the obvious teacher, but there's actually something to reference. We're not just saying, "Oh, just watch the kids."
right. I understand what you're saying that saying just watch the kids because the 17 and 16-year-old, of course, they're more relatable because the young
Exactly.
look up to them like okay, they more go to them to look towards Big Brother than they look to us. Us, they gonna look to you, and even though I know I'm older than you, add more of a father figure than they would a 17-year-old,
That's
right?
true.
They're more relaxed with them. And when you say after school activity, what are some of the activity that these children get into that you guys have in your program?
Okay, we do DIY. That's sort of an arts and crafts. We just started the martial arts program. We do African dance. We do culinary arts,
Okay.
financial literacy, um, sports. Regular sports programs.
Okay.
We try to cater to the kids' interests, whichever angle fits your talents or or your set of likes. We kind of steer you that way.
I like the part about finances. That's great. I want to
Yeah.
sign up for that program. I know.
Yeah, we're trying to teach them early. You got kids learning about the difference between a debit card and a credit card. You know, teaching the younger ones how to count, what the difference, money actually is, not just on TV. Explaining it in real terms so that you have a financial literacy. Because our community, we lack
That's great. I know my daughter took it financial class in high school, and she was able to understand about credits and so on. But that's a high school level,
that. Exactly. We're doing this
and you
from first grade all the way to eighth grade.
and that's why I said first grade all the way to eighth grade. That is awesome. So that could be something that other programs could implement financial literacy because that I know that's a big issue and that's a big stress that they stress it in the school system nowadays that children should learn how to do in culinary arts as well. Learn how to cook and do the basics that they do. So that's great. And if someone want to register or go to your program, is there a link that someone watching this said, well, listen, I love what I'm hearing. I would love to enroll my children in it. I would love for my children to be a part of this program. What are the requirements in getting into these programs?
There are no straight requirements. I mean, as long as you're a student, you can attend East Harlem Scholars.org. That's the name of the organization. There's students that come from different boroughs. It's just new. It's as long as it's New York. And we also have a high school program. I don't manage that program, but we also have a high school program. So beyond eighth grade,
Okay. And it's all in that, what was the website again?
East Harlem Scholars.org. East Harlem Scholars.org.
Okay, so the high school program is also in it, but you're not a
Yes.
that program.
Yes.
I would love to know more about that high school program. I'm going to check it out myself. I'm going to go back to being a high school student.
Back to school again.
All right. I wish I can. But I know I don't want to keep your time. Look like you have somewhere to go. I know it's short, but maybe we could catch up another time. And
Definitely.
I appreciate you being here. And then you could give us more about your program. I appreciate it. I was running a little late, but I thank you for
I
being
thank you. And it's no problem. My pleasure.
okay. And if anything else you want to share with us, we hope we could have another phone interview, another episode again.
Sure, no problem.
All right. You have a good one. Thank you. Enjoy
All
your
right. Have a good one.